Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Matt Croger, and today we have 3 recordings taken at Clash of Kings Australia 2026. We'd had just over 50 players playing 6 games at 2,000 points. And so in our recordings, we've got first up a recording with Mr. Ronald Renton, who gives us some insights into how the company's going and what's coming up. Then an interview with a couple of players at the event, and then an interview with our 2 youngest players from the event and how they went in a tournament as large as Clash of Kings. In a later episode, you will hear our question and answer session with Ronnie that night, which definitely had some juicy tidbits that you will want to listen to. So I hope you enjoy the coverage.
Alrighty. Right.
Charge room.
This is Countercharge. Yes. Even though that doesn't exist anymore.
Is it not? Oh.
There's no rule for it. Yeah. And you might recognise that voice. We're here with Ronald J. Renton. His middle name doesn't start with J. I just made that up.
Yeah, does it?
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nailed it.
Joseph.
Yeah.
After my granddad.
Oh, there you go.
Ronald Joseph Renton.
Yeah. Welcome once again to Australia, mate.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for making me feel slightly hungover this morning.
Yes, I think there are a few that were pretty dusty this morning after a good evening on the bottle.
Very good evening. Very good fun. And yes, much fun was had by all.
Yep. So first time back in 6 years?
Yeah, 2020, just before the pandemic. I did a year's worth of travel in 6 weeks, did my back in, and then global pandemic.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yep. And you were...
Be no such shocks this time.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. I mean, last time you were here, we were putting on the bushfires for you. This time, just a bit of a heat wave.
Yeah, no, it's nice. So I thought I got off the wrong plane when I landed in Sydney. It was absolutely chucking it down, and someone told me like, "No, don't go in January. It's like boiling hot over there." And I'm like, "It's flooding."
Yeah.
But then I earned up and it come better after that, so it's nice.
Yeah, so you flew into Sydney and then popped up to Queensland for a few days.
Yeah, my cousin is over there, so I can have a bit of jet lag. So I just a day and a half, flew in Monday morning and then spent Monday and Tuesday with him and then flew down to Sydney, went and saw some shops in Sydney and distributor and then up to Newcastle. It's very nice and very lovely town. Although the people that were born there, I think, are a bit strange, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can vouch for that. Yeah, being one of them. No stranger than me.
So, we did that and we visited a load of stores. So there's a great store at Frontline Hobbies. There's 2 great Pathfinders out there, Matt and Kieran, and they're building a big, huge Halo community, particularly. Actually, there's a few King of War players up there as well, but there's a big Halo community kicking off. So that was great. So we just need to kind of start joining these Halo communities together, and we will have a large group of them, nearly as large as Kings of War, but not quite.
Yeah. They used to have a little bit bigger Kings community in Newcastle, I think, but it's also quite geographically spread out, so it's hard to get a quorum of...
Correct. We ended up in Maitland. That's where there was actually the good store was in Maitland. We went out there 6 or 8.
Yeah, which is really semi-regional.
Yeah, well, it was 40 minutes. On the way back in, my jet lag was just kicking. Fortunately, I said to her, I'm not sure I could drive back at 8, 9 o'clock. I'm gladly I didn't, so Matt very kindly gave me a lift. But so then flew down. Well, I flew straight from Newcastle on a 6-seater little pup plane.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, out of Pelican Airport, probably. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And landed there, got picked up, and now here we are.
Yep. And you even helped us set up.
No.
Did some hard labour.
I think I rolled tin, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, and I destroyed your finger.
That's right. Yes.
Putting up a sign. No. And people watch out for some blood and gore pictures.
Yes, not suitable for work.
No.
Suitable with a poor constitution. But yeah, so 60 players? Yeah, I think that's going to put it, kind of outside of the big G-dub down at CanCon. I think it's solidly in that very upper end of the second tier, if not the second biggest. I mean, I did some counting because we've got a 16-man Halo on Monday.
Do you?
Yeah. And I don't think there's many bigger than that.
Yeah, right.
I think Star Wars, and I was just counting it up, and I think they're 20 less on you guys.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a drop-off of the bigger tournaments at the actual venue over the years. Yeah, okay. I mean, you were mentioning to me that Halo's massive in it. Like, Australia is actually a massive market for you.
Second biggest.
Yeah, right. After
biggest.
States.
Yeah. Aussie, America's the biggest. Obviously 6%. I mean, biggest individually, bigger than everyone else added together. It's 6% of everything we said as Halo was there. Aussie's second, and then UK's third.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and of course, getting expanded slowly with, different factions and...
You know what I think happened also? The UK scene, very, very... Everybody went through the school of G-dub, so everyone can play miniature games, right? It was kind of all we did back in the day, because that's all there was. US, not so much, but huge market and people are getting into it in a big way. And there's very organised play coming out on the back of Crash's Protocol and coming on the back of Shatterpoint. So I think what happened was all the stores were trained, because they're not G-dub stores in Oz, they're not G-dub stores in US. So they just went, oh, and we gave them a free demo copy before the bundle arrived. So they just kind of picked it up and just went, oh, an IP licensed game in miniatures. We know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And they just ran demos and everyone went, this is a fantastic game, let's go. And so where there is the independent stockists that are used to running some organised play and running some demos and getting it out there, and obviously the IP popular in those two places as well, you get that combination. Off we went.
Yep.
So,
and when you went over, were you able to run incognito?
I got some great photos. Actually, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but 2 or 3 guys just came and like, what's your name?
Yeah.
It's Ronnie Redson. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Let's get a picture.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was nice.
That's awesome. That's nice.
Well, and it's, because it's such a mixed crowd, because there's card games who just don't do what we do. They're geeks like us, but they're different geeks. They have different, and war gamers play card games. I'm not playing as many card gamers play war games, but so you're walking around and 90% of people don't get it, and then when you see a war gamer, they very much are like, one of us.
Yeah. Absolutely. It can be a tight crowd. It's certainly a limited crowd.
Yeah. Limited by.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. And we had all the armies out before. I did a bit of a quick. We got at least 70% Mantic, I think.
Totally tipped. From last time I was here, the two things are CanCon is bigger. I just feel like there's more people hanging around and milling about. I feel it was locked down. Just got people playing board games. I don't mean war games per se, but I just mean like the whole people turn up with families and kids and having a good day out.
I think it's been a slow burn. I think there were a few years where people were a bit nervous to go back into venues, but I think it's really hitting its peak again.
And it feels like a nice day out. People can go down, sweat, and just have a good wander around. There's an RPG room if you want it. There's cards if you want it. There's painting competitions. There's war games. But there's also just shopping and hanging around and doing something. So felt really busy. It was really nice. What were we talking about?
Oh, we were just talking about CanCon and the size of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was something else. I was going to say another point, but I've entirely forgotten what it was. But
yeah.
Well,
have you seen any, like with Halo being so popular, you might not know the data yet. It might be too early. Do you think you've seen spillover into other games based on Halo success or not?
I don't. So apocryphally, there was a dad that was doing a tour at Mantic a while ago, 3 months ago, before Christmas, and I started chatting to him. I said, how did you get into it? He said, well, my son was 12, 13. I'd done, I'm way back in the day, he said, but I wasn't getting back into that. He said, and my son saw Halo, and I thought, well, actually, I think I can do this. So we picked up the Spartan set, and he said, I discovered this, me and him started playing it, and then bang, we're now playing everything. But I think they're, at the moment, rarer. I think the people are, because there's been so much choice for quite some time, if you like a skirmish game, there's this. If you like a big battle game, there's that. And we've got a huge Kings of War community globally. And actually, if you have that itch, there's probably been something to scratch it. And so for people to pick up another game, it's a kind of decision. Now, I think a skirmish game is a hell of a lot easier to pick up, so people do it as well as, rather than, Kings is a lifestyle game. It's the one you have there in the background. So I think the answer is yes, but probably not quite as much yet as we've anticipated. But I think we're finding a lot of people that like to be in House Mantic. They like to be in the Mantic tent, and they're going, oh, these are good guys. This is a good rule set. So I don't think they're quite ready to make the switch, but I certainly have no intention of letting them.
Okay, yeah. Which is why it makes sense, I guess, too, with having a bit more unity amongst your rule sets, right? Like bringing in things like commands and
Just having a house style. And I think that just making that transition. So, obviously I think the two things we'll do is we'll scale up Halo to vehicles and big battles in a firefight kind of way at some point. And we'll also redo Dead Zone.
yeah, right.
And those two things will allow you to get, if you really like the skirmish game, Dead Zone is not the same as Halo. Halo is faster, it's more furious, it's lower model count, and it's quite back and forth very quick. Dead Zone has that slightly more crunchy tactical element to it, the scenery. You don't play a cardboard, or probably when we relaunch it, there will be a cardboard set to get you going. But, you take a pounding from a mortar who was moaning about a mortar attack last night on Dead Zone.
Who was that? Nick?
Yeah, telling me, don't put all your chips in the same place, let's put it, and get 3 mortars dumped on your head and they roll lucky. But, you lose a couple of guys early on in an elite force, it's going to take you hard to come back from it because you're a 75%, they're 100%. So
Yeah.
It's a bit more crunchy. There's a lot more choice because there's a lot more factions and so on and so forth, but it doesn't have that kind of rapid. So it's got a different vibe to it, but some people like that. Some will want to get.
Well, I mean, people always speak positively about Dead Zone. So I think there'd be a lot of people happy about, a refresh.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a while now. Dead Zone.
I knew 21 in thinking lockdown. And we've learned a lot. And actually, Halo's taught us a lot. So we can do different things as well. So, yeah, it's chugging along nicely. I'm not, this year is just more Halo for those that are into it. And recruit your mates, and we've got a tournament scene going, and get your head sculpted on the Spartan. And if you're top player, you can be you get your head sculpted. So season 0 finished, which was kind of our beta, but we did a random guy, and then Chris, I think it was Chris, won the UK event. We just need to get particularly just more 8-mans and a few more majors. So hopefully by next year at Adepticon, I think at CanCon next year they will have a 24 or 40. I think they'll be heading that way. They're at 16 Monday. We've only had the factions out for 6 months. The game's only a year old, and it's going to be probably in the top 10 this year.
Yeah, wow.
And it'll be in the top 5.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's nice. So it's good.
And really pleasing to hear. Yep.
And bringing new people in. I think what we're seeing is, okay, I played a lot of Halo. What else do these guys do? And that's why I think coming next year and the year after. Hey, there's Epic.
And one thing I've got for you is, how do you keep sane from when you're reading moaners on the internet?
Listen, we sell a hobby and people are passionate about their hobby. And they put a lot of time and effort and money into it. So, some ways, if we communicated perfectly and people were moaning, I think I'd say, jog on, mate. But actually, I just think because we've got, Alex has just joined us and he's learning his sea legs. So, we were strapped last year because Andy left off through the year, and I didn't want to replace him with another video guy. I wanted someone that could just really get into the community and see it and understand it. And so I think Alex joined on the 1st December. Well, the race was run by then. We were frazzled. It'd been a long year. The Epic had been a couple of months late. So we had back-to-back game releases. So, and we were getting mispacks. We were making errors. And I can understand why people get upset and frustrated. And, we were off our peak while we were doing a lot. The team were working incredibly hard to do it. But if you've given us a load of money and you haven't got and then, of course, Trump starts throwing a few tariffs around just to screw the pooch. So it was a tough year. It was also, we haven't quite got the numbers yet, but there's a fighting chance, 50-50, that it is our biggest year ever.
Right.
Okay. So our third biggest year now was Hellboy year.
Yeah.
But that was our half of our business in that year was that one single Halo product. It was a £1.4 million Kickstarter, and we had a ton of translations with it. We had a big board game release, the 50 quid game, whatever it was. So it was a massive thing, but our core hobby was half the size it is.
Yeah.
2024 was kind of 3 plod along quarters, and then Halo landed and did in that month 1/3 of our turnover. And we also had Worms that year, so that had been a big Kickstarter, great fun, and a whole lot of translations. So, that was made up from one direct to retail product, one Kickstarter, and our core business. Last year, we probably, even if we didn't, it was either slightly bigger than 2024 or slightly smaller, but we're talking, 100 grand, which in the context of us is less than 5%. So, but that was done with not one product. It was done with Kings of War. It was done with Epic. It was done with Halo. It was done with 3 Halo releases, War Games. Adepticon was the biggest show we've ever been to. And there was, it was not dominated. So we are making more boxes. And when you go to, that kind of level of turnover and you're selling it in $100 boxes and $200 boxes and 20 quid boxes, it's a lot of boxes. Yeah. And Kickstarter, it comes in, Chad has done it for us, we posted out, thank you very much. Our Kickstarter, that Epic Kickstarter was the hardest Kickstarter we've ever done. Biggest tooling we've ever done. One of the probably top 5 Kickstarter turnover we've ever done. It was 3,000 web orders. Everybody had a different order. Worms, the Labyrinth, took us 20 minutes, 2 days, literally 2 days to send them out. Because they come in pops, we stick a sticker on it. Yeah, America does half of it because it goes direct from China to America. So it was a tough year. People have the right to moan. We've just got to be better. We've recruited 4 guys and girls to help us be better. We will be better.
Yeah. Do you think at face value your 4th sales are going better than the start of 3rd? We don't know. They are? Yeah. Yeah, good. I mean, certainly anecdotally, like everyone has been coming up saying, what a great time they're having. And I think, there's been a bit of bemoaning about, it's come back to a bit too basic, but I think getting it on the table, people find that once you're using your commands and doing things, that's where the flavour is. It just doesn't jump out on the page as much as it used to.
100% that. And secondly, when you're redoing 28 armies
yeah,
and you're doing a major upgrade, firstly, and I've said this, the first most important thing is don't break the game. Because if you break the game, we're going to have to come out with a book and go, that's wrong, this is wrong. Yeah. If the choice is slightly pull the armies to a little bit more around a centre point, put commands in, make the game slicker, faster and more approachable for newbies, I'll take that. And I think that's exactly what we've done, because you can the joy is then dialing up the armies. The second thing is, and exactly as you said, play it. Because what you do in your head is you're still playing 3rd with the points from 4th. When you play, you go, that unit does that. I can do this. And actually, I think the first 6 months of a new edition is the most joyous. Because even if you're playing your mate that you played 10 times with an army that you played against him 10 times, when you get a new edition, he does things to you that you're not expecting. You do things to him that he's not expecting. You go, now I've got to tweak that. I've got to think about that. And actually, I think we love puzzles. That's what we enjoy. That's why we play these games, It's the endless puzzle. So as long as you don't read the internet, I've not had anyone yet say it's a worse game.
No. And in fact, generally the opposite. And also anecdotally, I'm hearing a lot of people saying they've been able to pull people back in to try it that either hadn't tried it before, didn't want to, or lapsed.
And I think that's what happens with the new edition. And if it's good and the words are good, so we've got people refiring up their armies. We've got, vets tweaking and changing their army about, which actually brings you back into the hobby. When you're playing and you go, I need another unit of that. And after you get off the, oh, bloody hell, I've got to change. And you go, actually, that's what I do. We buy and paint toy soldiers because that's what we kind of enjoy doing. And you need another few units of this. And then I'll play a 5,000 point game for shits and giggles. So, yeah, we've got a bit of work to do. But on the whole, we have, 60 people nearly here. And there's been 4 rules questions. And everyone's picked it up, everyone's playing it. They're all.
Well, I'll tell you, and I'm looking at them right now, and we're going to interview them later, but we've got a 13 and a 14-year-old playing, who their dad's also playing. They haven't needed any support at all, and I think that's the sign of a good reset. They've probably got half a dozen games each before coming to Clash of Kings.
And this is with a game system that's 45 days old.
Yeah.
It's 45 days old.
So
everyone got
something going right.
Correct. So I think we're in great shape. Epic is an absolute monster. The quality, the hobby there, we put that out onto My Mini Factory to recruit all of those guys into an official game, so they don't have to play all those not real games that's out available on the internet these days. So there's Armada there for them now. There's Epic for them now. We've actually got a Salamander army for them. So.
And games that are going to continue to be supported, right? It's not this bring back an old game and we'll say we're going to support it.
And if someone turns in here with a Salamander army that they're 3D printed, they're going to be very welcome.
Yeah.
It's going to be official and it'll look fantastic. It's got brand new sculpts. There you are. If you want to take some plastic, some resin and add, well, there you go. So now we're able to start welcoming people into the Mantic hobby, and that's what we want to do. And, my message to everybody in every podcast each year is, come join us.
Yep. It's an inclusive church, man.
Correct, it is. And by the way, that's the one problem we have, and it's a problem we'll always have, which is we need more players. We want to grow, we need more players, because what's the one problem? I want to play my game more, and I can't play it if I don't have people to play with. So, I think we've got Halo, I think we've got Kings of War in great space. I think Dead Zone and Firefight have taken a little bit of a backseat, but they've got some plastics coming out this year. Epic is in absolutely rude health, and there's an uber vet game. Dreadball All-Stars is coming to crowdfunding in not too distant future with a very famous game designer working. Well, it's his game. It's his take on our game. It's his take on our IP, and he's done a phenomenal job. We'll be talking about that. So I think we've got a nice mix and a nice smattering for both the 14-year-olds that you're talking about that are coming in, the new blood, and are enjoying it. And you can play it with your dad, and you can be your hobby with your dad, as Halo can be. Probably Epic's a little bit hardcore.
Yeah, well, to me, the thing that shows the growth and the maturing nature of Mantic is at the start of this edition, for the first time ever, you were able to come out and say, this is the 3-year plan. Sure, and rightfully so, you're not saying what armies necessarily. And
Get me a few more beers.
Yeah, we'll come back to you later.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm running.
Yeah.
And then it's arrogance.
Exactly. But I think, we've never seen that before. And
I've never been able to plan like that, because I said Kings of War would be, well, it was in 3rd edition still, fairly sure, either very late 2nd or 3rd edition, that Vanguard was being asked to carry the plastic tooling for the Northern Alliance and Night Stalkers. I think I shoehorned 4 tools into Vanguard.
Yeah. So,
and I love the concept of that game, and I love the idea of battles before battles, which I think is fun. Quatre bras. But we asked it to do too much. It's got to be square-based. It's got to have plastic so it can use grunts. Whereas I'm now coming to Kings of War 4th, and I sat down with Matt very early last year and went, right, we've got these armies. These are the books. These armies are in these books. That's when we do some new tooling for them. That's when we do resins for these. That's when we do a couple of new regiments for these. They need a bit of this and a bit of TLC. Great plan. Crack on with it. Or stand up, So, and this is either going to be the cleverest or the stupidest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of stupid things, so it'd be right up there. But, by putting the story as front and center in these books. So, if you're genuinely a hardcore player here in Oz and you don't give us stuff about the background and never will, I'd say, you know what, just take a subscription out.
Yeah.
Don't buy the book. You don't need it. Just have a sub. That sub will be far more benefit. You may get the same amount of money and you will get far more use and utility out of that. So
at an annual or monthly price.
You could. No, okay. I forgot about the annuals, all right? It's on me. I forgot there was annual subscribers. And also, it's a pain in the ass to do just to do an annual, then you're like, oh. So, again, simplifying the business. It is. And I would say to someone, if you're going to have a choice, don't buy the book. Have the sub, because you'll get more utility out of it. People go, you don't mean that? I said, I do. I really do. It's there. And you don't even need to buy another Kings of War book.
Yeah.
Even if you've got a subscription when the 5th edition comes out, boom, there you are. You've got it.
Well, and from a business perspective, the great thing about the companion is, like, when there's an update, you got a little bit of cost of labour going in, but essentially it's a thing that's ongoing. It's not super high cost to update,
Well, I don't know.
Well,
you can't even tell me, you need to do this, you need to do that. So it's always money I'm spending. But, it's there. It's global. Everyone can access it. The RB lists are there. Click, 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 click. Thank you very much.
Off you go.
So there's that. But so what that's freed us to do with these books is to go, you've been asking for more IP, and we've put it away. So here it is.
Yeah.
And here's this story.
And how's our commitment to it?
Correct.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we are going to play out the Zikali invasion and the impact it has on the whole of the races that the old races. And we're going to have summer campaigns. We're going to set a new skirmish game that may or may not call Vanguard in it. We're going to set Dungeon Saga 2 in it. All of these story arcs are all going to be running because we've got the big broad brushstrokes, and there'll be points where we go, right, next year at CanCon, tell everyone to pick a side, A or B.
Yeah.
If A wins, this happens. If B wins, that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. That's amazing.
And I want to get all the majors. I want to get Deb's going to want to get you guys. And I want to say, hey, like, Oz, go and play all the Oz results going here. You're either going to fight for or against this thing. And at the end of it, what happens, happens.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
you guys will own it and you look at it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
That's a
then
great way to engage the community.
and you go and look at the map from second edition, you look at the map now. Doesn't look the same. And we haven't changed that. The results of the community did. And everyone remembers the Rift, everyone remembers the Abyss getting big, everyone the Brotarians, Brotherhood falling into it. So I want to do more of that. And the joy is because the studio can get going on that. Alex, come on, let's get together.
Well, like it drives more people to the community. Like if we sell that leading into Clash, right, is that you may get half a dozen more people, let's just say, that weren't necessarily tournament gamers, but they're like, I want to be part of that story, And then they get here, they have a good time, and then they stay part of the church.
And that's what we've got to do now is recruit. So, this is my clarion call. If you're playing a Mantic game, we're going to do this slow grow with Alex. We're going to start with champions, start the champions faction, and bring everybody that's around you with you.
Yeah.
And we put it low because champions is a game in its own right. There's a lot of people playing a lot of ambush because it's Tuesday night, let's set up some thingies. But it was only a stepping stone really to Kings. Whereas champions, it is a stepping stone to Kings. It's also a game in its own right. That champion is a character and it has an OP influence versus heroes in Kings of War. But it makes it a more satisfying game when you're playing with 3 units and a champ because he can give his orders out and instructions out. So that's going to be kind of Feb, March. Watch out for it. Get people, do it yourself. I've just done a Northern Alliance Army Fact Champions. I've been meaning to do Northern Alliance for ages. I want to do this kind of cool ice bases. But I just didn't quite have the time or the heart to start an army. But I thought I can do a Champions faction. And after I finished it halfway through, I'm thinking, I might do Abyssals next.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for your time. We better give you a rest before the Q&A so you can recharge. I think maybe, I think you're a bit like me. I'm just getting my energy back now for the day.
And you know what that means going to be? About 50 minutes like to have a beer.
Yeah.
A beer.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for your time, mate. We've really enjoyed having you.
Listening, we're going to do some more Ask Me Anythings as well. That went down well. The Dwarf one was there. We want to be open. We want to talk about it. I realise, I apologise if we've tested your patience the last 3 months for the Epic guys. I feel bad. We didn't get it out quick enough. We've worked blinking hard. I couldn't have asked any more of my team. They've been brilliant. But I thank all of the Mantic fans for their patience for the last 3 months. We will be better this year.
Good on you, mate. Thanks, mate. See ya. I'm joined by 2 handsome gentlemen at the end of day 1 here at Clash of Kings Australia. Oh, yeah, that's the sound of a frothy Coke, no sugar.
Yum, yum.
Or is it full sugar?
No, it's only drink unleaded.
Yeah, right. But being joined by Dale Hastings from, you've heard on previous episodes, building a club and on previous Clash of Kings episodes. And Jats, our local Pathfinder, doing a great job of building the scene locally. So we've made the end of day 1. Got a bit warm, but not too bad. We've done a reasonable job of managing it, I think. How are you guys feeling after day 1, Dale?
Oh, pretty flogged, but yeah, it was good. 2 up, 1 down. I think it's a good start.
Yep. And Jats?
2 up, 1 down as well. Flew too close to the sun.
Yep.
And got devilfished.
Devilfish beat you down. Yep. Nicely, or?
Yes, it was gentle.
Yeah.
As always.
And you brought Abyss, didn't you, Jats?
I think I'm the only Abyss here.
Yes, I think that could be right.
It's quite a flip from last year by the sounds of it. So
Yeah, 100%. And what's in your list?
I've got, what have we got? The key parts of mine are the Molochs and the Abyssal Horsemen, the Lower Abyssals just chunky up the middle, Morbitsu running around just causing havoc. So nothing that I thought was too scary. But yeah, apparently it is for especially the Amiras.
Yep. And I don't think you've had too many reps with it, right? I mean, you play most weeks, but I don't think you've been playing a lot of your Abyss, have you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, nice. And Dale, we had a look at your list on the cast. It got a little bit of love.
Get a little bit of love and my little bus as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Give it a shout out.
Yeah, yeah. You brought your goblins, which was a lot of Fleabag riders.
Yep. And some trolls, a winged, and a giant. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yep. And so that's another 3 games of 4th edition under the belt. Jats, you've been playing a bit. What about you, Dale? You play much 4th?
I got 2 games in prior. We've been trying to get games of firefighting too. So, yeah, not a whole lot. Haven't won any games until today. Woo!
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, nice. Okay. And how have how's the local group been finding the transition to fourth?
Oh, everyone's been so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're quivering with excitement, I would say.
Yeah.
And when it dropped, everyone got into it. We're all sharing books, having a look, reading. Yeah, the guys really getting into it. So, yeah.
There's a lot of chat around things like imbalance. Is that bothering the local group too much? No.
It's a war game.
Yeah.
I haven't really noticed too much imbalance at all.
No, I think certainly in our local group, people have been primarily still just playing what they want to play and what they have. I mean, I think I think one thing is that depending on the flexibility of your collection, that might dictate what you play. But I certainly don't think, I mean, we did get a lot of notice for Clash, I guess, but it's not like everyone's come with all the invasion armies. No, in fact, a little bit of the opposite. A few Zerkali, which is interesting. Zerkali got painted up much more quickly than when the halflings came out. Took us a year or two to see that halfling range come into rotation.
Less of a horde army, though, isn't it, the Zerkali, really?
That's true. Yeah. And with those big core infantry models, I think people can get away with it. If you've got a nice militant base, you're not having to do a ridiculous amount of models. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well, like fourth also breathed a lot of life into a lot of old armies as well. So people who would have been like, oh, take my dwarves or whatever, but I've been playing them all the way through third and I'm a bit bored. Well, suddenly there's a whole new way to use them and play them. And yeah, like my goblins, which was a terrible list last year, it was so bad. It's got a new life, and it's actually, with the new construction rules and the size of the game we're playing, it gave it a real good opportunity.
Yeah, and I think with those Fleabag riders being speed 10, I think, a lot of stuff took a bit of a speed hit, and so having the stuff that speed 10 can still, and nimble, is still really useful with so few things having nimble, and Thunder too. Absolutely. Jats, what about your perspective? You're a Pathfinder, you run a local group, half of that local group all happen to be related to each other. But how are you finding that, like, the local community's going with the transition to fourth?
Well, I was quite staggered. I ran a intro game on the back of the tournament that we had, and that was well attended. We had about 14, 15 people to that. So we ran through a game very slowly, 1,000 points, and most people were nodding along, either had some familiarity with the previous version or very little. And we got through the game without any issues and people were keen. So now it's just a matter of converting those people across to playing more regularly. I think that's the key.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had a recording with Ronnie already, and I said to him, I pointed behind him. I said, we've got a 13 and a 14-year-old there playing this game, and I haven't gone to their table once. Which one says something about the community supporting them to play, but two, I think that it's a game capable of being played fairly easily. They've probably played, half a dozen games each, and they can come and have a good time here.
Yeah. Oh, easy to learn, hard to master. It's just a beautiful game.
And I guess the beauty is, in a few years' time, if they're bringing their friends across to play, then we've got this whole new generation of people coming, which will be of benefit to everyone.
Yeah, unless they're like me and had no friends at that age.
Well, true. Yeah, that's right.
Tell us how you really feel, Matt.
Yeah. So, and I think we'll see, I think the nitty-gritty of the tactics of this edition isn't worked out yet either, right? I've found myself, a couple of people, like the couple of very small questions we've had is, how does this charge work? And I'm like, well, it's not percentage of your unit base anymore. It's just have your overhang equal. But as you can see, that would mean, next turn there's a wraparound available to you. And I think people will get better at learning to plan for that round two. If I put these two bigger units in, then as long as I survive or they reform, then next turn I'm planning for the combats to take that little bit longer, where we're used to kind of being able to plan for a one hit, one shot.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be a lot less common.
I feel like after this tournament, there's going to be a lot of people here walking away from it going, okay, I'm pretty confident with the rules. I've got my army that I took based on what I thought was going to go okay. And now I'm going to start really getting into the nitty gritty and tweaking my army to what I want to have and see how it outputs. So,
yeah, I'd agree with that. I know what I need to do now.
Yeah.
Yep. How, I mean, my vibe in the room is I think it'll breed more enthusiasm, which I think Clash usually does, but I don't know. I think this was just about the most relaxed day of gaming I think I've had at an event this big.
So it's fresh, isn't it? It's a fresh, straight into this.
And people's brains are all melting together, especially with things like the changes of deployment that we've been playing.
Yeah, so we did a diagonal deployment.
Yeah. And you could literally, I know I joked about it at the time, but you could literally hear the hush over the room as people were just trying to work out, right, I've got my table set up. I think it's right. Now, how do I deploy with this knowing that there's one edge that's a bit bigger and, this is...
Yeah, and can't remember who I heard talking about it, but yeah, it is, I think it's a really interesting one, how you both essentially get a chunky flank.
Yeah.
And you can't counter on that flank hard, because you don't have the space to move. So I think it changes. I still think my gut feel with a lot of the different deployments is, which we have done, or I have done, tried to do, is we've got to match the terrain to a combination of the deployment and scenarios. So a little bit more thought needs to go into it. Or you could move to something like the Americans have done in the past, like dot deployment or, play it. But I mean, that all ends up taking more time. I think there are certain scenarios where certain deployments won't work overly well.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good that you can sort of lever up the difficulty of the game or the challenge in the game, depending on what you're doing. Like if we came and just played 6 games all the same way, we would have gone, okay, we got our head around the basic rule set, but now we've levered it a little bit as well and gone, okay, now I've got to think a bit differently about how the game's actually structured, how I'm going to deploy. Yeah, it was another thing to learn, which was good.
Yep.
Fresh.
Did you enjoy the diagonal deployment?
Oh, I played it. We did 2 games. So, yeah, I've done 2 games with it. It's interesting in that it looks like it's really wide front, but it's actually shorter than like a short deployment. And yeah, it is fun because you do open up a flank to some silliness, which I definitely took advantage of game 2. But yeah, it's probably the hard bit is working out with certain mission types. It doesn't work with certain missions. Like we were doing control a few weeks ago, and there was a few questions afterwards. We're like, so where's our home square? Which one's our home square now? Like,
and that's even the same with playing the long way.
Yeah.
Like I've found it unusual in the book. There's recommendations in some of the scenarios for how you do it with the different ones, and then others they're not. And I kind of would have preferred just go, like, list all the types in all the scenarios, even if it's like we recommend no changes. Play this for all of them. Just list it for all and show us that you thought about it.
Yeah.
Because I think even long ways control feels a bit weird. A lot of people say, we haven't played one yet, but game 2 tomorrow is deploying on the short edge. A lot of people say that feels like playing on a 4x4, but
it is essentially, to be honest.
it is essentially, but I also think depending on scenario, if it's matched and like one side has flyers and things like that, and that person's placing tokens correctly, they can make you spread out across the board, So I think, I don't know, when I've played it, it's played a little bit more than that, but I can certainly see where people are coming from. But yeah, so I think it does need a little more care on the TO's part.
Well, I think it also makes us another design choice when you're building your army going, well, what happens if I get that short edge table? Do I need something that's going to, more things that are going to fly over the top, or can I be chunkier in the middle? Like it just, again, it opens up another layer of options when you're picking your army.
Yeah. I've always found it unusual that you get this group of people that say, no, the book must tell me how to play everything. Like it must have terrain heights. It must have map packs. It must have everything. And I'm like, well, actually, for me, packs are always a way of shifting your own meta if you want to, and getting people to think differently. So, you could declare all the scenarios early. That will shift your meta because people may take them into account when they build their army, but if you keep them hidden, they kind of, like you say, Jats, they have to go, oh, well, if they've told me all options are available, I have to consider that if they want to be competitive. And I think, these things are things to tweak. You could tell people you're not going to do that, and that would, change their army composition. I think different packs are great. Yeah. How you
Change the terrain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2,000 points, Dale. How are you finding it?
Oh, that's a tough one. I like it. It suits my army because I've got a bit of more room to move around. I was saying that before earlier today, like with a cavalry heavy army, like if there's no way to move and you're just going to crash into another unit, like it's not really worth its points. And so hence it didn't work well last year. This year with a bit of room, it's good. 2K points, I like it a lot. It is hard to build an army. It's hard to build a balanced one. You basically got to factor a weakness in and just hope that you're not going to get that too exploited. It is a lot of fun. I like the points. I don't know. I know a lot of the boys want their toys, so we may have to go higher later in the year when it comes to other tournaments. Yeah, 2K looks pretty good.
What are you finding, Chats?
I like 2K as well. Again, probably based on the map differences that we could potentially have. If we're doing the short edge or the diagonal edge, it's actually less frontage to try and sort of cover. So you might see in higher pointage games, I guess, maybe more 2 layers of armies more often because you just, you get more toys, which is fun. But yeah, I like the challenge of I have to leave something at home. I just love it.
Yeah, I think you get a better opportunity for close to perfection at 2,300 or 2,500 or whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, I personally don't mind it. I think I've said on the podcast before, it's maybe somewhat restrictive depending on people's collections with the new unlock rules. But yeah, I quite like hard decisions to make and yeah, not necessarily having perfect armies. Yeah.
And the 1 battalion helps, I think, as well, setting the standard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be interesting with 2 battalions because,
As in 2,000 with 2?
yeah, like just at least the option. I just found when I ran out of specialists, like that was it. And I had a few like small specialists. So like these should be auxiliary, but I've got to buy them as specialists. So yeah, we kind of limited my army a bit. Like it's not like I hopped on a keyboard and started whinging on fanatics or whatever. But
I think, yeah.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. I thought, doesn't everybody?
play the game and enjoy myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only thing in my, like, that potentially that it's probably always slightly advantageous to the trash armies a bit more because it's easier to unlock. I'd be interested. I'd like to see you like a 2 battalion list at 2,000 and see what you actually get in. Be
But
interesting.
if I did that, it'd just be trash swarm. I don't think I'd run cav. I'd just go war machines and hope for the best and bangets and boomer chariots and all that. Maybe. Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. The other interesting thing is, I mean, new additions, slightly new rules. We kept the time the same as what we had for 2,300. And I don't think we haven't had half the room necessarily finishing heaps earlier. So, yeah, I mean, maybe there's less people pushing the limit of the times as much. Like it's maybe a bit more comfortable. But I found it, we're certainly not getting people super early.
Yeah, I've had 1 or 2 games end very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You could probably shorten the time, but it's not necessary. I mean, really, our time is there not to punish the players, but to keep the tournament moving.
Yeah.
So that's its real function.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure yet. I think with the new edition, whether it's actually playing more quickly, more slowly, or whether it's about the same. I mean, I think it feels my games have felt a little slower, but I think that's also spending, if you don't have clock pressure, spending too long on commands and, what am I going to do? And
Yeah, I find it too hard to tell for me, only because the army is a mixed arms army. So I think if I was leaning heavy on just the combat, then maybe it would be shorter. But yeah, hard to tell.
what about this idea of strip back of flavor? So, and do you actually think that's a thing? I mean, my perception has been, I think it is somewhat a thing, but actually once you play the army and you see what the commands are being handed out and some of that actually comes back a bit more on the table rather than just being seen on paper like it used to be. What are your feelings there? Maybe Jats, you feel?
I think the more commands is nicer for the armies that have them. I found it, with the Abyss especially, the 2 commands are there. Some games, if someone has no shooting, I might as well not have that command. So flavor, I haven't noticed a massive change, but all the armies I've ever played in Kings of War have been quite thematic anyway. Trident Realms, Dwarfs, Abyss, and Ogres, they've all got their very predetermined way of doing things. So yeah, I haven't noticed.
Oh, flavor-wise, I mean, there were a few, like they did cut back the army list for a few small units. Like I know dwarves lost some things, goblins lost, I don't know what they lost, but anyway. Yeah, I know the army list has been cut back. The difference in commands, yeah, I suppose it could matter. I haven't played as a Kali player yet, so yeah, I haven't really seen the big difference in number of commands. I would say the command system's way better than those dice from last year. And I think while it's not perfect, it's a lot more balanced than it used to be. So yeah, I'm all for it. It just means that they're just going to release more stuff for us, which we're going to love to collect. So yeah, they'll build it back up.
Well, yeah, and we had our Q&A with Ronnie. Were you enthused by what you heard?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Mm.
Yeah, he's excited. He's excited for us, and I think he's excited with where the product can go. And I'm excited to keep building on the numbers that we've got this time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think which can happen. I believe, it's nice to see a company that's put so much effort in, and like Halo has really allowed them to do the things that they want to do and where they've wanted to be. And, I mean, the easy thing to do would be as a director of a company is pocket out money and run, right? And just keep with what you've been doing. but they're choosing to invest it in their company and go, no, we want to do this better.
Well, I just wonder how we convert the people playing the Halo and the other game systems into the Kings of War. I think that's the challenge.
I think it's a slow burn. I think exactly what you're doing, Jats, and what you do at Port Mac, Dale, of it's eyeballs, and I think, Ronnie's touring a couple of sites. We've got a decent presence north and south in Canberra now, and I definitely know in Canberra we grew better when there was store presence, and eyeballs on the game. Or like open gaming clubs, probably like what you've got, Dale, because you can't always have a store. But like when it's an open community where people can just happen to see your game and go, oh, what's that? It definitely helps, which Mantic has always struggled with, right? Because they don't have their own branded stores.
Yeah.
So they've relied on, being able to put product in a store and, things like that. So
I think as long as other players can see the game being played, then they know that there's a chance they're going to be able to get a game when they start collecting.
yeah, 100%.
As long as that's been around for a while and it's still played regularly, I think you're going to attract people.
Yeah.
And that's what happened at our club.
Yeah, I know. We've got a guy I know. We're friends through the kids at school. He's a gamer. Goes to one of the night, and he's like been sending me pictures of goblins he's been, because he goes, all the guys can talk about it at gaming night at the moment is like Clash of Kings coming up. So I've got to get on there. He goes, I'm getting FOMO. I'm like, well, you didn't pay, so you have missed out, mate. So next time.
And you might have got to this later, but looking at the quality of painting, and then one more again, looking at the Mantic models and the Mantic armies, it's flipped around in this community. I'm certain it has.
I think I counted. I reckon we're 70%.
Yeah.
And, that it'll never be 100%. There's lots of reasons not to do it, like Dale's printed army and, for reasons, and that's fine. And people want certain models and what they look like.
Broke.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, and, not everyone can invest in it, and you do it the way you want to do it. And we want everyone to participate. At the same time, Dale's not whinging on the internet about all these things about like Mantic, and is supporting them in other ways. So
and the models are nicer, and painters are painting them because they're nice models.
Yeah.
We've got 2 new players that have started in Canberra, and they've both bought the STLs for the Salamanders. So now it's just this process of printing it out for them, and off they go. Like it can be inexpensive compared to a lot of the game systems out there.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, and I think they have tried to. It's more expensive than it used to be, but you can't always be the cheaper alternative company, right? If at some point, if the thing that's going to grow your game is the quality of your models, then price has to follow. He mentioned, and you got people like the Orange Man whacking tariffs on, and it changes things. Not everything's within your control all the time either. Same with subscriptions. Costs go up, guys. And I'm, as far as I'm aware, I can't recall ever there being a promise of a lifetime price for the companion. I think there was promise of a lifetime, potentially there was a promise of a lifetime discount, but not a price. And
Companies are allowed to, make money.
I haven't got a single subscription that I don't know hasn't gone up over time,
Or a coffee or a bottle of water or anything else. And
exactly.
our
Subscriptions.
Sexy massage.
Value anyway.
Yeah.
I've had mine for years. Not the Vault. I tried the Vault. Didn't quite work for me, but I love the companion. I love the rules. I love the list building.
Yeah, and same thing, like, I mean, I don't want to seem like an apologist. They do things poorly sometimes, but also the good thing about the evolution of the Vault now is that, you will be able to buy the packs one-on-one if you wanted to, or a bunch of packs. So, you might not need the subscription, but you might be able to go search it and go, right, well, yeah, all I want is that. So I won't do the subscription, but I'll just buy these,
Well, I guess the alternative is if they're not updating things and they're not bringing out new models and they're not designing it and they don't have the money to do it, they're not going to do it. So it benefits everyone to be in on these things. Is the more people that they know are buying the stuff, the more likely they are to improve it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys. So what are we hoping for tomorrow?
3 wins. It'll be grand.
3 wins. Right. Shoot for the sun.
My expectations are a bit low. I like to finish about middle of the field somewhere. So 3 wins. I've only got 1 to get over the next 3 games.
What's your best finish ever? Do you know?
I reckon 20th.
Yep. As the goal always to, because Jats' dad always plays in Clash too.
Yep.
Always finish higher than dad. Is that the goal?
That's always the goal, yeah, to bragging rights. But I like, my personal goal is usually just to get somewhere above the 50% mark.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, you're on track so far.
So far, so good.
All right. Well, and keep enjoying the rest of the evening, guys, and I hope you have a good game tomorrow.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, Matt.
And here we are, day 2, Clash of Kings Australia, after game 4, with our 2 youngest participants, Thomas and Torrin, who share a bit in common, actually. We have a new passion for Kings and a passion for cricket as well, Just a couple of good 2 Aussie lads, hey? And just getting in, both their dads are playing in the tournament. Thomas, your dad claims he's by-busting, but he's played every single game, so it's not really by-busting. I think he's just doing it to make himself feel better about his results. And Torrin's dad is the very famous Patch Adams, famous for his painting skills. So you guys are pretty new, aren't you? What, only playing a few months, Torrin? Last few months?
I've been playing on and off for a few years.
Oh, have you? Yep. And what about yourself, Thomas?
I've been playing on and off as well. So basically, I think leading up to this game, it was about 10 practice matches.
Yeah.
And then that's about as much as I've played
Yeah, nice.
in a while.
Yeah, and it's not like you're playing every week, is it, Torrin? Well, certainly until recently, maybe a little bit more frequently. Yep. And what what pushed you to kind of be like, oh, I want to play in Clash of Kings?
Torrin did.
Torrin?
He said he was playing in Clash, and I was like, why don't I join him?
Yep.
And that's how I got here.
Yeah, nice. And then thinking about it, I guess, 50 people in a room, particularly when most of them are old boys, right? Was there anything that worried you leading in, Torrin, that made you think, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do it?
It was like, I'm a bit nervous because I've always just like hung out with Dad.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually playing.
Yep.
Just the first few games gave me like a lot of confidence because everyone was super nice.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Thomas? Were you worried about anything?
Mainly the competition, like being at table 1 and stuff, if I win my first game and all that.
Yeah, fair enough. How important is winning to either of you, Thomas? Like, how much do you enjoy the game versus also enjoying a good victory?
I don't know. I enjoy it a bit, but not as much to go, I want to win every game.
Yeah, cool.
More of a casual enjoyment.
Yep. Yeah, nice. Torrin?
And I've lost every game so far, but I'm still doing it. And like, I'd do it again next year for sure.
Awesome. Oh, that's good to hear. I think you got to be used to losing in this game. Probably most people were on average, I think, lose more than they win. So, even the best Australian cricket captains, their win rate is only about 50-something%, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, Torrin, you're bringing an army of your dads, his ogres. Yep. And you're, Thomas, bringing an army of your dad's dwarves, although I'd have seen images of you painting madly, trying to make sure everything was painted. Are they the armies you've been practicing with? So Torrin first?
Yep. I've been practicing with the ogres, had like a few games with Dad, a game with Thomas.
Yep. And you've been practicing with dwarves, Thomas? Yep. And was it for you, Torrin, that's what's available, that's what Dad's got, or were you particularly drawn to the ogres, or?
Oh, the ogres are like just so simple and resilient, like forgiving.
Yep.
And I thought, it's my first tournament, like might as well use them.
Yep, absolutely. And what about you?
I've been playing dwarves since, I reckon, the first match we ever did together. I brought dwarves to Jolt, and that's where my love of dwarves came from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And so, I'd say end of yesterday, like the old fellas are often getting pretty tired by the end of 3 games. How were you guys going?
I was holding up fine.
Yeah? Yeah.
Tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired, but I fall asleep generally as soon as I hit the pillow. So
Yep.
I generally get a lot of energy back really quickly.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I know. My only concern was that I was like, okay, yeah, we'll see how they go, but we'll see if they're getting a bit ratty by game 5 or 6, if tempers start to flare, But like you said, I think we've got a pretty good group of guys in the room, right? And that you've found everyone's been pretty forgiving and good with you? Yeah? Yep, both of you?
Lots of people have been really.
Yeah. So would you say it's kept your excitement for Kings about the same, increased it, decreased it overall?
I increased it a lot.
Has it? Yeah, that's good to hear, Torrin.
It's the same no matter what. Like, even if the players were a bit ratty, I was still going to be fine, and I was going to enjoy it anyway.
Okay. And what about the tournament experience as a whole? Does it want you to play more Kings, Thomas? Or so Torrin sounds like he's frothing at the mouth, ready to do more?
I probably would play some more Kings, but definitely with different armies.
Yep.
Like Forces of Nature and Ogres and stuff like that.
Oh, well, mate, all we need is access to Tony's shed, which I think you visited for the first time the other day, didn't you? Yep, mate. You guys can use whatever armies you want in there. Okay, cool. And what about Tom said that he'd probably try something else. Would you persist with ogres, or you trying something else? Do you think, or
Yeah, I'll just persist with ogres. My dad said that like a lot of the best players stick with one army.
Yep.
And like learn it like through and through.
yeah,
I think I'll try and do that.
Yeah, I think sometimes the easy thing to do is when you're throwing around army lists is you play it, you lose, and you might get spanked, and you kind of go, oh, that unit's crap. But, the best thing to do is kind of go, well, what if it was the way I used it? Is there a way I could use it better? And because that's the bit that's going to implode. I certainly found like getting towards, it doesn't have to be forever, but spending a period of months playing the one thing, learning all the units in and out definitely will stand you in good stead. Do you paint at all, Torrin?
Well, I've been starting painting. I painted one warrior.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, nice. Good on you. Yeah, and I've seen you painting, Thomas. And you play a bit of sci-fi stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's just more of a casual thing. So I play Dead Zone sometimes.
Yep.
And on the PS5, I play some sci-fi games as well.
Okay. Yep. And how does, do you have a leaning for like the fantasy setting versus sci-fi, or?
Definitely fantasy
Yeah.
more than sci-fi.
Mm-hmm. What is it about fantasy, do you think? Do you know?
Fantasy is more of an imaginary world than sci-fi because you can have dragons and stuff in fantasy, or sci-fi is just the future. So there's nothing really exciting about the future than fantasy.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Torrin? You don't play anything else, do you?
I've played bold action for a little bit.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
And also I've been playing 40k quite a bit as well.
Okay. Yep. And do you have a preference, do you think, or not really? You like them all for different reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so Torrin's been getting into painting. Thomas, I know you do. Do you enjoy it, the painting? Oh, you do? Yeah. Good. Yeah. And you've enjoyed your first model, Torrin?
I've painted like a few, not many, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Yep. Might be a bit intimidating when Dad's so good too, hey? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you see yourself motivated over time to paint your own thing, or happy to dabble in what we can give you, or?
Yeah, I think over time I will be ready to paint my own thing, but for now it's just like dabble, get some assists and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. What are you enjoying most, Torrin, about Kings of War?
So, like this, like the people who play it, like,
Yeah.
and just like how supportive, like I've made a few mistakes and then they're like, oh, it's fine. You can just like redo that, or, it's really nice.
Yeah, awesome. And what about you?
I find the people, like, they're all really friendly bunch and they help you out with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about the game itself? So you've both got experiences of other games, Thomas, you said you kind of like the fantasy setting, so that's one thing. Well, it doesn't sound like that's as much of a draw card for you, Torrin, as Thomas. What about the game of Kings compared to others? What do you like about it?
I like the ranks and flanks.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like how there's like more maneuvering than like 40k or like 40
Yeah. Yeah, so it feels like that's a bigger part of the game. Yeah. What about you, Thomas?
I generally just like the models themselves and how well people paint them and stuff, but as well as all the flanks and mechanics, like Torrin said, that make the game really enjoyable.
Yeah. It can be a bit more of a spectacle sometimes, can't it, when you've got all these models ranked up, and particularly with multi-basing and things like that. Yeah. So, Torrin, you mentioned you haven't won a game yet. No, that's all right. Thomas, what's your
I
record?
won my last game against Torrin, so...
Oh, right. That's right. You two played each other?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it a big win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, 4, maybe 5 victory tokens to me, and
Okay.
he had...
And you've played a bit against each other. Is that, does one usually win, or does it go back and forth?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
At Tony's place.
Yeah.
And then...
one and John.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's something you'll have to correct, isn't it, Torrin? Yeah. Cool. And I wouldn't say it's a complicated rule set, but obviously you got to read rules, there's a book, things like that. Your dads can help you, but then when things come up, you got to do it. Have you found it hard to get a handle on, or would you say in the scheme of things, it's actually pretty easy?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Like a lot easier than like 40k and stuff.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to pick up on rules that people might have trouble with, and skimming through the rule book as well to find those rules. I find it's a lot easier in this version than it was in the last version.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's Nick and I running it thought we would have more questions than ever before because it's the new edition, but we've probably had less, which is pretty interesting. I reckon a lot of people will be interested about how your dad's started to teach you in terms of like, was it 2 models on a board? Was it a few units? Because I think there's a lot of parents out there who'd love to be able to get their kids interested in playing the game with them. What worked for you guys?
Just like starting off at a young age, like my dad taught me 40K and then we like transitioned into like bold action in Kings of War.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So kind of tabletop games have always been a thing for you. It's just a matter of which one. Yep. Okay. And then what about transitioning to Kings? Did he kind of say, just come and watch a full game and I'll talk you through it? Or was it putting just a couple of models on the table? What was the starting point?
Oh yeah, just like I watch a game and then like after he'll like show me like how the models like move and like the stats and stuff.
Yep. Did you find it pretty boring watching that? Oh yeah, you came last year actually, didn't you? You played with him pretty much. Yeah, you rolled all his dice and yeah. That's a good way to learn. What about you, Thomas? How'd it go for you?
It was from my brother, so he wanted to play. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go to Jolt.
Younger brother, right?
Yeah, younger brother. So we went, I think the game took about 4 hours with Dad explaining the rules and stuff. And in the end, that's how I started playing, just full, massive 2,000 point army.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yep. Yeah. And so that obviously wasn't too overwhelming or too boring across 4 hours. No. Okay. All right. And is there anything in particular you're hoping to get out of the last couple of games? Maybe a win, Torrin?
No, I'm just looking not to get tabled.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good goal.
I'm looking for another win, but also not to get absolutely destroyed like I have yesterday.
Yep.
And yeah, that's about all I'm aiming for.
Yeah, well, interesting thing, I guess, for you guys is because of the time you're coming in, like fourth, any new things aren't really that new because you hadn't been doing too much of it, right? But yesterday we played a diagonal deployment. Right. And game 5 is going to be the short edge deployment. Did you find the diagonal deployment weird or challenging in any way as like not being very experienced with the game, or did you think it was pretty fine?
I actually found it easier with ogres because like less space to cover, I guess.
Yep.
Sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I found it pretty easy considering I was versing Night Stalkers with a Dwarves army.
Yep.
So I was just like move forward slowly and pricks and hope if I can take the brunt of the attack.
Yeah, so you probably liked the compression a little bit as well, like what Torrin's saying, spread out a bit less so you can play in your block. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Okay. Has there been anything that stood out that you haven't liked? And not necessarily about the tournament, but just Kings of War in general that like gives you, I don't know if I really like that bit of the game.
Not really. I liked though, like in the last edition, how they had like, was it the hill? Where if you came off it,
extra thunderous. So that was a nice feel-good rule for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like how like most of the stuff in the game has been updated. So you now have more thunderous and more rules that are easier to follow than last edition.
Yeah, as in they were being given, there was a bit of like different naming.
Yeah.
Like it could be thunderous, but it had a weird name because it was thematic or something like that. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that streamlining you've actually liked. Yeah. Okay. Good. Have you got to the table and thought, I've got no chance because of the armies in front of you rather than, the fact that you're so new?
In my third game yesterday, I was versing Night Stalkers and I'm like, I am dead.
Yeah.
Like completely dead because I had versed them before and got murdered. But in my first game, because I was versing dwarves, it was sort of equal until like the 6th turn when we were all beefing each other up. And yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself, Tara?
No, I've always come to the game with a positive mindset. Like, I can win this.
Yep. Nice. I think we might have a little mini patch there. It sounds like you approached the game similarly to your dad. I think a few things have rubbed off. Oh, that's awesome. Well, you guys are always going to be welcome at our events. It's good to see a couple of young fellas playing. Maybe one day you drag some friends along for a look. And yeah, as you can see, most of these, old fellas are, closer to the end than the start. Okay, well, that's good. I hope you guys have enjoyed the last couple of games, and, if there's anything that doesn't work for you, then you let us know. And have you had a chat to Ronnie at all?
And I had like a brief conversation. He's like, he's like, "Are you enjoying it?"
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, awesome.
On Friday at Tony's place when we were getting all the stuff here, that's when I met Ronnie
Oh, yeah.
first time.
Yep.
We had a chat.
Yeah, we forced him into some hard labour and actually preparing, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we made him earn his meal. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, lads. Enjoy the last couple of games. And, we'll see you again soon.
Okay.
And there ends our coverage from Clash of Kings Australia 2026. Except for the question and answer session with Ronnie. You will check out a later episode for that. And in terms of results, we had Mr. Stephen Devonish take out the event, former master, take it out with his salamanders, and so we'll look to get him on for an episode later. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, keep countercharging.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.